guys, welcome back to Gear by Orla. Today I am making a comparison video between the Peak Design 30 litre and the Series 2 medium expandable Knack bag. I've had a few requests in making a comparison about these two backpacks, so I thought I would go ahead and make a video because there isn't any online that I have seen, and maybe someone out there might find this quite useful. I hope you like this video, and if you do, please hit that subscribe button. It feels like a bit of a lifetime ago before I reviewed these bags individually, which you can head over to my channel and check out, because in this review I am going to break it down in different kind of categories, but I'm not going to delve in too deep into the backpacks, just so that I can really make a comparison, and then at the end give you a roundup of what I think each bag is best suited for in terms of their activities. So the Peak Design 30 litre here expands up to 33 litres in comparison to the Knack Bags, which is a 24 litre, and that jumps to a 35 litre when it is expanded. In terms of weight, they are both pretty lightweight. This weighs 3.17 pounds and this is 3 pounds, so just a wee slight difference. So Peak Design's dimensions are 20.9 inches by 13.4 inches by 7 inches, and it expanded is 20.9 inches by 13.4 by 7.9 inches. So again, just a slight bit in the expansion. And then for Knack Bags, you have 19 inches by 12 by 4.5, and then with it expanded is 19 by 12 by 9 inches, so a bit of a jump here for the Knack Bags. In terms of flying with these backpacks, they both are grand for a carry-on, but if you are looking to use them as a personal item, I'm just gonna pop up the dimensions for EasyJet, which is like a usual airline that I fly with, so just for a bit of comparison. This one, the Knack Bags, you could definitely fit in the seat in front of you whenever it is not expanded, but when it is expanded there is no way, because I remember trying to take this with me to Scotland one weekend and I wanted to pack it out and expand it open, but there was no way that that was going to be fitting in the seat in front of me. So that's just a bit of a reference for that. And then in terms of the Peak Design, expanded or not expanded, it will fit in the seat in front of you. I wonder with EasyJet, because if you put up obviously the dimensions, I'm well aware that it doesn't match up with the dimensions of the bags, but sometimes it depends on your airline and where you are and time of the day and the people that are serving you, that you might get away with a bigger, bulkier bag depending on whether or not they're paying attention. But I've gotten away with this under the seat in front of me with it not expanded. And with the expansion, it's not even that overly big in comparison to this one. So this one has a bit of a jump, whereas this is that extra like 3. So you definitely probably could get it in the seat in front of you, but if you are worried, just match it up with your own airline. Unfortunately, if you are looking at this Knack Bags and you are from the UK specifically, they don't ship to you, so you're better off with this bad boy, because this ships internationally. This ships, I think, America and Canada. They're looking to do it internationally, they just haven't got around to it. The reason I have this bag is because they've worked with Dream Big Travel 4, and we are in talks about future work whenever they do have international shipping. The Peak Design here is priced at $230, and the Knack Bags is priced around $265. So for Peak Design's colours, you can get it in black, midnight and sage, and then for Knack Bags you can get it in midnight black, blue and grey. So for the Knack Bags, they are YKK zippers, and for Peak Design they have the Ultra Zips, UHMPE thread, Hypalon zip post and reinforced stress points. I have to say that Peak Design definitely around here on the zips is a lot more tapered in comparison to Knack Bags, which is absolutely grand. It is well sealed, but it's more fabric in comparison to this coating that Peak Design has. The Peak Design is made up of weatherproof materials, 100% 400D nylon canvas external shell, and with a 900D waterproof bottom liner. The Sage and Midnight are blue sign approved. Then with Knack Bags, the materials are made up of lightweight 420 dinar high density nylon fabric woven with a high twist of yarn for great durability. And then at the bottom of this bag is the tough 840 ballistic nylon bottom panels for enhanced wear characteristic. This bag is tested to carry up to 40 pounds, and I can actually say confidently that it definitely does hold a lot, because whenever I did have it expanded and was carrying it, it held it well. So they are both made up of nylon, and it's not the most environmentally friendly material, and you kind of just weigh up the pros and cons on that yourself. It is lightweight, so that is something, but also just be aware that nylon isn't waterproof. It is water resistant to an extent, but over the period of time you'd imagine that all that water, if you're out and about with this and it is raining, could gather and cause some damage to the bag. But you know, you can avoid that where you can. Like, get a cover if you want, or just don't live in a country like mine that rains 99.9% of the time. In terms of just speaking about the waterproof here, this is, you know, water both runs off these pretty easily, but this front here of this bag on the Peak design is, the only way I can describe it is a little bit more fluffier, but definitely water just runs off it too. And for this as well, it definitely just flows off it, but just be aware maybe with nylon over time it might absorb in of some sort. They both haven't overdone it with like the branding or anything. As you can see, this is my child because it won't stay up. But on front here, you just have the subtle branding on the Knack Bags, and then they have it on the zips as well, which is nice. There isn't anything too overly flashy, and that goes exactly the same for Peak Design. They have a small bit of branding, which you probably won't even be able to see up the top here. I think it picks it up a bit more on the lighter colors, but that's the only bit of branding that they have. And then they have the branding on the inside that says Peak Design on the laptop compartment, and they have a little bit of branding here on the straps. But again, nothing overly flashy, and I think it is perfect, especially if you're using either of these bags for travel, because you don't really want a bag that is overly attractive. So in terms of the laptop compartments on the Knack Bags, you have a dedicated spot for it on the back here. I feel like on the top of this zip they missed a little bit of a trick. Maybe if they put a bit like the pack safe, where they have a little bit of fabric over there that stops anyone from pulling down on the zip, just give that added protection. But anyways, it's not there. So, and then inside is their laptop compartment. This is well padded. It fits up to about a 15 inch. My 11 inch fits absolutely grand, and there is a bit of room obviously, but it is well tucked in. Just something to note though, when the bag is fully packed, like to the brim that I had it, there was no way I was getting in my laptop. When it wasn't fully packed and I was still trying to like shove everything in, I was literally using every inch of space because I wanted it to fit obviously in the seat in front of me on that flight, that EasyJet flight. So I didn't take my laptop with me on that trip, just for the pure fact that it was getting squished. But I guess if you pack smarter, then you would be able to fit it in grand. But that is there running on the back, and it is lovely. Then the Peak Designs laptop compartment is here in the clamshell opening, which I'll get into in a bit. But that is in here, and it does fit in the 201 14-inch and 16-inch MacBooks. I don't have a MacBook, so my Acer fits in there fine. 11-inch. There is a bit of wiggle room, but this is well padded and secured. Just obviously when you're flipping the bag up, it might slide, especially if you have an 11-inch like mine. But this here elastic Velcro just ties everything down nicely, and it feels absolutely secure. So that is their laptop compartment. So moving on to water bottle compartments, my favorite. Peak Designs here is on the side. They have two. which comes in quite handy, not for 2 water bottles, I mean you absolutely can, but for people who are using tripods. Gosh, my words are long. So you can have another one in here if you want, like a tripod. There isn't really like an external strap, maybe like Stubble & Co. or the Wandered bags that you can loop it through for extra security, so just be aware of that. There is loops here on the side, which I'll get into in a wee second, but this is their water bottle compartment, and yes, it does fit my Super Spiral 500ml water bottle. Okay, then switching over, I just feel like it's best because I actually have to hold these up every time. I'm staying up. Now, their water bottle compartment is tucked in. Your question is, when we get to the clamshell opening, does it compromise the space? A little bit. I did not have a water bottle in that time that I was using it for packing purposes. I had, I think, socks and all that there in there. Maybe I did take a water bottle, I can't remember, but it is tucked away, and let me just show you, just so you, yeah, a bit of the space is compromised, but not in the clamshell opening, just in the main, like, second pocket here, that there is a bit of, you know, it is taking up a bit of room. I prefer personally my water bottle on the outside. I have decided that. Whether I said that in the last video or not, do not quote me, but yeah, I prefer on the outside just because 1, it doesn't take up room, and 2, I can grab it quicker. So for handles on the Knack bags here, you have one on the top and then one on the side, which both bags can go into briefcase mode, so it makes it really handy for that. And oh my god, I'm going to kill these zips. So that's there for these two. And then on the Peak design as well, you've got one up here. This is more cushioned. On the Knack bags there is foam. This is seatbelt, like hard, no real cushion to it on this top one. And then you have one on the side, which is, not stupid, I'm not going to say it's stupid, but it's just like if you have anything in there, then you only have a little bit of the handle to move with. That makes sense. If I have my water bottle sitting there, then I don't know, but it's there. And then you have one on the side as well, on the other side, that is kind of blocked also, but just do what you will with that. And then here on the back you have a handle for this kind of mode, which I'll get into whenever I'm speaking about the strap. So this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one has 2. In terms of front pockets, let's start with Peak design. You only have this top loading pocket here, and it is moon shaped, and it's just literally, it's not tiny, but it's tiny. If that makes sense. It has enough space and enough little accessories. It makes it really perfect for anyone who is in the kind of camera, into like camera backpacks, or you know, is vlogging or using camera equipment on the daily, or has any sort of tech accessories that you need in there, such as your SD cards, your USB ports. It has lovely fabric in here, and the mesh is lovely, and everything is just tapered tight. And inside these pockets you have like little mini compartments where you can place things like those delegates, such as your USB ports and all that there in there, and then it's closed nicely, and there is a little bit more space for things like your phone or anything that you need quick access to, which makes it great. But again, you may or may not want to put a wee lock on that if you are traveling, depending on how you feel and how secure you feel that your belongings are in there. Then you have the front pocket of this. Now, this is really an organizer in the front of this backpack, because it has all those kind of little compartments for your pens. It's given school bag. You have your key lash here. That could have done with maybe a wee key lash in there. But this is made for organization. This is where you would place all those kind of things. You can also fit in your USB ports or anything like that too. And then it has some elastic here as well, and then on the front it has this mesh that I don't particularly like, but it's there. And then it has enough space at the bottom too, so there is a lot to just play about with here on this front compartment. And then that just zips up nicely, and you can actually add on a lock of Knack Bags locks, one of their locks, and that fits in nicely because they have like the 2 loops for a lock, one of their locks, or you can just get your own. So just adds in that like extra anti-theft feature if you want it. Something that this probably could have done with, especially for a top loading pocket such as that, and that being your only main quick access pocket too. So some external features, I'm not going to get into the sternum strap or anything like that because I'll get into that a bit later. But in terms of Knack Bags, there is no real like loopholes or anything that you can attach externally that you would be able to do on the Peak design here, because the Peak design would have these little external features, so you can add on straps. Oh my god, scrap that, I stand corrected. Peak design have made an anti-theft feature where they have put a little bit of fabric here, a bit like the pack safe, and that stops from anyone pulling at those zippers, so you can put that on whenever you feel like you need to do so, or just have it there all the time, whatever. But oh my god, I am so blind that I've missed that. Back to my external features. So for, like I was saying, Knack Bags, they don't really have it, but Peak design have these points on the bag, throughout, on the straps too, where you can externally place things that you might need for adventures or anything like that you might need quick access to as well. So in comparison, Peak design have more of those added features on the outside. On to the straps of the bag. Both bags you can tuck away their straps. So let's start with Peak design. In terms of their straps here on the back, they can be rotated around. Ensure that you take off your sternum strap so that it can actually go, and they get turned in and you can tuck them in, which makes it perfect, especially if you are either putting it in the overhead locker or if you are putting it in the seat in front of you, because then nobody is trampling over your 200-something pound straps. So that is great. And then obviously then you're able to lift it a bit better here or on the side, and it just makes everything a bit neater and a bit more protected. The straps here, especially on Peak design, are quite thin. The fit for me is grand, but if you've seen like any of my videos, then you'll know that I always this is something that I always talk about in terms of the fit, because it's alright for me, for someone who has a smaller chest, but for those who have bigger chests, it definitely would, it really just depends on the bag as to whether or not that's actually going to be comfortable for someone. Oh, literally hitting my head. But these are really comfortable as well, and they kind of curve and complement. And then if you put on the sternum strap, which I've just twisted myself in, then for me anyways, it doesn't compromise the comfort, but that's just going to be down to you and your own body type. Again, I can't really say, I can only just go off other bags that maybe Cassie has used and she's found discomfort in as well. So that is Peak Designs. There isn't like a lot of padding to it, there isn't a lot of airflow in the straps, there is a slight bit of mesh, and then it is quite rugged in its flexibility, but there is some flexibility too. And then obviously you have these external features that I have previously mentioned, but they are the straps here. Different in comparison to Knack Bags that I have here. Hopefully this stays up. In comparison to Knack Bags. Now Knack Bags have a similar thin strap here, but they have the mesh that has more airflow and more cushion to it. Range of flexibility as well. and they are comfy on. I have to say, none of them have what I love. In the Metro Safe X is a great example from PacSafe, where they have like the padding running on the back of your neck as well, which I appreciate. But these can be stowed away as well. You just unclip them and you unclip both sides, and then you can tuck them into the back of the bag, which is quite handy enough. And just a wee note, like a bit like PacSafe, another comparison, you can swing this around and attach it to anything that might be stationed for that added, you know, security for whenever you are sitting down. But in terms of fit and the comfort, these are grand. These are more comfortable, but again, it's really going to be down to your own body type. This, yeah, I'm going to get into the sternum strap in a minute, but these are thin as well, just a bit like this too. I find it much more comfortable, especially when there is a bit of mesh going on in the straps as well, in comparison to this more rugged, because that's just going to cut me really. But usually 99.9% of the time I'm wearing like a hoodie or a jacket that protects my neck, because sometimes I find, like, even with this, like, why are you choking me? Might as well get into the sternum straps while I'm here at the straps. The sternum strap here on the Knack Bags is grand. It can be detached. It has these G hooks, which I love, because then you can just take it off when it's not in use, and it just slides up nicely, up and down, like so you can position it where you want. It is that buckle. I don't know if I'm a fan of the buckle, because I feel like that's something that's going to break first, but it becomes really handy to have this sternum strap when the bag is really full to distribute that weight. Otherwise you don't really need it on this bag, especially for it, whatever it's this size and it's not expanded. It's not overly heavy as well, but it is there if you need it, and it is the clicked sternum strap in comparison to this, which I love. I think for the price, everything should be like this. Whenever you're priced at like £200, this is what you should be getting. And this can be detached as well, and whenever this is detached, you aren't left, in comparison to this, whenever it's detached, you're left with this just flapping about. I mean, it's not overly obvious, but it's there. Whenever you remove that, then it's nice and sleek and slim. But you can adjust this to your own build and height, which is great. Oh, we love. It doesn't have like any sort of buckle, which is great. I prefer, but having it on is really going to be down. I can't compare because I don't have this going on, but it is definitely comfortable. This is is this at its furthest point? Oh god, that's at its furthest point, and I'm kind of getting suffocated and I've got nothing there. So I'm also aware that sternum straps are supposed to sit on your sternum, but when I speak about like other people and being bustier in that area, it pushes it down and it doesn't become comfortable, if that makes sense. So that's the comparison of the two. I definitely prefer the Peak Design sternum strap on this, but definitely feel like your girls are getting squished if you're any bigger than I am. So in terms of the back of the bags here, I just want to quickly touch on the luggage slit. Both of the bags here have the luggage slit where the bags are then turned onto their side, which I don't particularly like, because especially if I'm using it over a suitcase, which is a carry-on, and then I'm assuming that I want the stuff at the top of the bag, then it just makes it really awkward for me to get to the bag itself, especially if everything's on here and I'm trying to get here and it's all a bit of a faff. And even if you're opening up the clamshell opening, then things, especially if I have packing cubes, then it just doesn't make any sense. So this one has it. You can use it if you want. I haven't. And also so does this, but this doesn't have like your standard one. It actually is pretty cool, but it does go on its side and that just slides in like that. Onto the padding then, you have lovely padding here on the back of this backpack. There is a nice airflow, but realistically it's not like mesh. Like, I prefer Stubble & Co. Oh my god, I love that bag. I prefer Stubble & Co.'s mesh, where there is like those little holes and then there is like a lot of airflow. And this has a nice airflow because the position here going through, but just for preference, I would prefer like that mesh material. This is so comfortable though, and it actually like prompts the posture. I love things that can do that, especially here at the bottom, especially with my lower back, because I do get pains. And then they have thought about up here as well, so I'll give that to them. Peak Design said no, you're getting nothing. Do you know what you're getting? You're getting these straps that can rotate in, and then you're getting this hard back system. This back system is not a bit of me. It might be for you because it runs straight down the middle. It's comfortable enough. I don't really notice it, to be honest, but in terms of just like support, airflow and all that, especially if it is a travel bag, I think the back system here could have done with a bit more. Maybe there is some science to their decision making in this back system, but just for me personally, it is very rugged and rigid, and I prefer a little bit more either prompt, like hard kind of individual moments, or those individual moments with mesh, something that's a bit softer but also prompts a bit posture. This is just flat. That just opens up like so, and then you have a few different features that I love. The inside of the bag is this custom designed lining, which has a special treatment that helps keep it fresh, so anything that's in there, it doesn't smell or anything like that. But I have to say, the patterns on and inside the Knack bags is something that I really dislike, only because it just makes me sick looking at it for too long, like a pattern. But I find that for lighting purposes, especially whenever you want to see what's in your bag, this is of a great help, and it actually works out quite well, but I can't look at it for too long. On this side you have this mesh pocket which runs nicely. I don't like the mesh on this bag, but it works well because it's quite strong. It's going to be done on purpose again, and it has a lot of space. This can be used for travel, day-to-day life, even a gym bag. I have used it as a gym bag as well, because I find that the chalk wipes off easily on this type of material, so it is easy to clean. And don't forget as well, for day-to-day life, if you are using this as a day-to-day backpack but you want to pack it up and take a flight in the evening, then you can do so, because you have your organizer and your laptop compartment in the back, and everything is quite separate, so you can definitely make use of the space in this bag. What I love about this clamshell opening is that even with it not expanded, you can still get enough in the bag and pack it up. For the weekend away that I had in Scotland, I was able to still pack it up with a long weekend of outfits. Yes, I couldn't fit in my laptop, but I could fit in the clothes that I needed for the week, and that's what I love about it, because you can pack it up and there is like lots of room for doing so, because then you have your front pocket, the second pocket, and then the clamshell opening, and that's not even with it even expanded. So whenever you do expand it, then you have that extra room of 35 litres. Peak Design's clamshell opening here is fairly easy to access. It's at the back here where the laptop compartment is, and it just opens lovely, and you have the laptop compartment here, and then inside you have this space. The only downfall, I think, in terms of the space that they have used here, some people will probably use it, some they don't. They have pockets, but I find that I got more out of the bag whenever I was just packing it myself, especially here at the bottom. These pockets kind of take up the space that you could probably use a bit more of with the Peak Design packing cubes, which are absolutely amazing. I will put up the video of me packing up this bag, and you can kind of see how much I can get into it. there's plenty of space, but I just didn't make use of the pockets here at the bottom. You could definitely make use of the pockets here on the sides, because I think that they might be a bit more smaller and they're on the side, so instead of it like bulking up at the bottom, there is a bit more room for you to do that. And definitely I love the inside of this bag. Surprisingly, there is a lot of space, and you know, whenever you're not expanding it too and you want to expand it, there is just a little bit more of a wiggle room, which is great. It's not overdone like so here. It just gives you that extra room to put in an extra pair of shoes, a top, a skirt, or anything that you might want in there. So just for a bit of a roundup, I feel like Peak Design's 30-litre travel backpack here is aimed towards the traveler, the on the go. It is an everyday kind of backpack, but for those people who are traveling, because it is quite simplistic. It has one pocket off the top, which is your top loading pocket, and then the clamshell opening, which is your main space of the bag. It has the external features so that you can attach anything that you want outside the bag and use it on the go. It is very simple. It's not overwhelmed with a lot of features, but it does what it needs to do, and it is a long-lasting bag, and the materials are great, and I've heard a lot of people rave about this bag, and it does what it needs to do, definitely. And in comparison to maybe Knack Bags, which is something that could feel overwhelming and has a different niche in comparison to this bag, but they both have their own like different quirks and different things that they offer. But if you are a traveler or someone who is a creator or uses tech often, then maybe this backpack is good for you, because you can get Peak Designs camera cubes and place that in there, so that's maybe more best for you. But if you are looking for maybe an all-in-one backpack that you want to be able to transform, because you're paying over £200 and you want something that you can use day-to-day life, gym, work, that can be transformed into a bag for travel, then this is the bag for you. I hope you like this review, and if you have any other backpacks that you would like me to compare, then do leave a wee comment in the sections below, and also in the description will be the links for the products that I've mentioned today, and I will have other alternative backpacks there too. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next review.